We are live.
It told me the broadcast is live. I think I missed that last time because I was lagging.
The broadcast is live.
Hello, everybody in live land.
Notice how many viewers we have. Top left corner.
It doesn't tell me.
Why does it not tell? We have one.
All it tells me is how long it's been. That's all I see.
Oh, you only see. Oh, well, me. I saw two. We got 2 viewers. 2.
We're moving.
That's the fastest to 2 I think we've ever had. This is, and you know what happens when we hit 3? We start the intro. But
come on, third person. We gotta see that intro.
Somebody call a friend or open it on another, device. We won't know.
Did
I just got mail. How did I just get mail? The hell? You've got mail. We have 4. We have 4. All right. No, we got 4, Nick. We got 4. So that means we got to start the intro.
Play the intro.
Because 5. We have 5. All right. Intro time. Ready? And a 1.
Yes.
And a 2. And a 1, 2, 3. A 1, 2, 3. I'm still very proud of those.
That's better every week.
Well, you got to change it up every week. The one thing that I have going for us is that I do change it every week, not just the title. We kind of add in different pictures. And what I do is I just go on Facebook and I just steal all pictures from your profile, all pictures from my profile, and then random other pictures like Paul Stanley, which again, I was telling Nick this before the show, that picture, that last shot of Paul Stanley is just so stupid. And I got it. It was me taking a picture with my iPhone of my iPad as I was watching Phantom of the Park. And there's a really bad fight scene in it. And he's like,
how did you get Phantom of the Park on your iPad?
I downloaded it to one of my devices in my network and I'm able to watch it on it. So,
all right, then.
Yeah. So nerdery.
I was going to say that's very sophisticated.
It is very sophisticated, much unlike this show. And this show is Cover to Covered. Welcome back once again. My name is Mike Venezia. That is Nick Morocco. I am in sunny Southern California. Nick is not. Nick is in Detroit. And Nick is the proprietor of Rock City Music Company. Nick, tell us a little bit about your store again, and then we can start this whole thing. I feel like this is like a commercial for your store every week, but still.
It is. I get like 10 seconds to say what about the store. Rock City Music Company. It's a music mecca for all music lovers. We've got vinyl records. We've got t-shirts. We've got amplifiers. We've got guitars. We've got drum kits. We've got it all. If you play music or you listen to music, we have it. RockCityMusicCo.com. And for all the vinyl people that are watching this, we're currently running a 10% off vinyl sale. So anywhere in the country, we can ship you records. 10%.
I just double checked and then see if I had that right.
Can you count to 10?
No, that's why I have fingers. I know I have 5. So if I do 5 twice, it's 55, which is 10.
1 and 1 and 1 is 3.
Yeah. Hold you in my arms till you can feel
his disease.
Come together right now on my face. All right. So, anyway, all right. So right at the start of the show, there's a new segment happening right this second, and it's called Mike's Correction Corner.
Oh, right? I see that on my sheet. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. See, that's because you don't read. So if you were, literate,
I read as we go.
I see this. And it's like, so yeah. All right. I make a run of show every week, which details what we do and how long each thing should take. Nick reads the one before that we just did, just so he knows what he did. It's like somebody who puts on a turn signal as they're turning to let everybody know where they were. It's sort of that sort of concept. So Anyway, Mike's correction corner. So last week we were talking about stereo and mono and different needles to use for them. And I don't think I got my point across correctly, because I said that if you're going to use stereo needles on a mono record, it could actually harm the needle. It's not going to necessarily harm a stereo needle. What it won't do is duplicate the sound accurately at all. You'll get sound. It won't be true mono. It'll be like dual stereo. I don't know.
It'll be what they call a fold down of it.
Yeah, it's a fold down stereo. Now, on the opposite end of it, if you use a mono needle on a stereo record, you could wreck on a stereo record. You could wreck the record. So make sure you're not doing that. But if you want to get true sound, and this was where I was correct, if you want to get true sound out of a mono record, using a mono needle will give you the best reproduction of that sound. So there. I just wanted to make a correction for that, because somebody brought up the point. I never heard that was the case, and they were right. I didn't put it in a way that made any sense. So now I hope I did.
I knew what you meant, but
I am humble.
Yes, but that I think we should document, because rarely is Mike humble.
Listen, you can. All right, it's too early to start cursing at you. There's not enough people here for me to start.
I already see a comment though that you need to put up on the screen. Laugh at Gino Vanelli all you want. Some monster bass playing on his albums, not just monster bass playing, but monster drumming, monster singing. Gino Vanelli is the shit.
Well, listen.
Roger agrees.
Roger, yes, Roger's 100% in. Roger! Jeez, I love this dog, but he what? There's nobody here. Nobody likes me. My God. Shut up. And see, now I did a show last night with my company, and he was doing the same thing, and I had to constantly mute my microphone, but I wasn't hosting that show. I'm hosting this one. So it's going to be like, so Nick, how about shut up? That's what it's like dealing with this. But I love him. He's cute. And you all see Roger running around. He is a co-host unofficially.
He is.
Anyway, what was I saying?
We were talking about Gino Vanelli.
Gino Vanelli. Yeah, we don't have anything against Gino Vanelli, Andrew. I see your comment there. I'm not laughing at Gino Vanelli. I've seen Gino Vanelli in concert. He puts on an amazing show. Absolutely amazing show. Now, truth be told, the last time I went and I saw Gino Vanelli, I may have taken some substances that are legal in some states and drank some things that were legal in all states, and maybe yelled a little bit excessively during the show and scared the hell out of people in the row in front of us, especially during I Just Want to Stop. So that turned into I Just Want to Stop. And just we screamed. The four of us are screaming stop at the top of our lungs. And the row in front of us, like a dude went, oh! And I'm sure Gino heard us, because it's not like it's a loud show.
Right.
So, anyway, we love Gino.
Yes,
We love Gino.
Goldfish and I met Gino Vanelli when he played the Masonic Temple here a couple of years ago, and it was an amazing show. But we were getting there early purposely to try and meet Gino so we could get our record signed. And as we were pulling in, he was standing outside, like waiting for like the rider to bring him back to the runner to bring him back to his hotel. So we get out of the car and we're like, Goldfish, like, Mr. Vanelli, can you sign our records? And he was like, sure. And he's signing the records, and he goes, so what do you guys like work here or something? And we're like, no, we're fans. And he's like, he looked at us all confused. He's like, aren't you guys a little young to be like coming to my show? And we're like, no, we love it. And he was like, oh, well, I guess that's cool. But he totally thought we were like getting records signed on behalf of the venue.
That's funny. That's hysterical. Well, look, those records instantly went from $5 each to $4 each once you got his signature. So, yes, Roger. Anyway, so that's a little aside about Gino Vanelli. Now, I made my apologies. Those of you that are watching for the show for the first time, this is just a music nerd show. We talk about everything music. We talk mainly about vinyl. We discuss vinyl. We discuss shows. We discuss things like that. We love questions. We've gotten exactly none, I think, in the past few episodes that were of any worth. They're mainly statements and trolling. And that's okay, too. We're all right with that because we love you. We love all of you. So shout out to my Cats Vinyl family. Hello to all of you that are out there. Shout out to the Facebook Vinyl community if you're coming and visiting. And shout out to all the artists that we criticize that I know are watching, and we give you apologies in advance.
Yes.
So with that said, how you doing, buddy? You okay?
I'm doing okay. Yeah. Getting ready for the holiday weekend, and then it's NAMM time.
It is NAMM time. So for those of you that don't know, there's something called NAMM, not Vietnam and not NAMBLA. It's NAMM, National Association of Music Merchants. And let's see. Oh, Wayne Gilbert. Wayne, go and click the YouTube link. There are no comments on Facebook that you can really see. Everybody's on, all the cool kids are on YouTube. There is a YouTube link. Come on and join the dark side. Come on over to YouTube and join us there, and then you can interact with all your friends that all happen to be here. So anyway, so NAMM is where a big mucky muck industry convention where all these music instrument companies come and show their wares, what they have new for this year or whatever. Usually it's in January in Anaheim, but this year, because of everything that's gone on the past couple of years, they moved it to June. So I'm excited because, I get to see a lot of my friends in the industry that I haven't seen in years. I'll get to see you, sadly, in person, and then we're going to go to, and again, a shout out to La Casa Garcia in Anaheim. We're going to get ourselves a King Ranch burrito, 5-pound burrito. I'm not going to get it. Whoever goes,
Ducky will get it.
Yeah, Ducky. You think Ducky will eat it?
I think Ducky. Okay, here's the thing about Ducky. He's like the size of a toothpick. But if anybody can eat a 5-pound burrito, he can.
But that's the thing. The people that win those eating contests are like rail thin because their stomachs expand. And it just seems to just keep going. And then they just go vomit 5 minutes later.
That'll be Ducky too.
That's fine. Listen, if Ducky finishes it, I'll buy his 5-pound burrito and he can keep the t-shirt.
You hear that, Ducky? He's watching. So
but they're like $25 now.
Oh, they're probably more. We haven't been there in like
$22. I checked the menu. Trust me, I have to do my homework.
We're ready to go.
We're ready to go. And the best Cadillac margaritas are there. That's no doubt. They're amazing and very dangerous. So
that's why we're going.
Is it vegan? No, it's not. This is, it's a burrito. It's a Mexican burrito with all the non-vegan ingredients. So Ducky, you're gonna have to go off the wagon, my friend. Anyway, yes, a Cadillac duck. Great. So
I see my friend Dennis Smith has commented, as long as you don't bring up Bruce Springsteen or Grateful Dead.
Well, I like Dennis.
Let me tell you something, Mike. You would definitely like Dennis.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of either of those bands. Violently not a fan of Bruce Springsteen, and even more so of the Grateful Dead. But with that said, so we're going to NAMM next week. So there may or may not be a show. Nick is being a bit of a crybaby, but I don't want to do the show and I got to get up early the next morning, get on a plane, fly halfway across the country.
Yeah, I hate flying, everybody.
Well, that's why you should do the show, because you enjoy that. So do that. So there may or may not be a show next Wednesday. We haven't decided yet. Anyway, but the week after that, we will do a NAMM recap, and we'll talk about some of the cool things we may or may not have seen at NAMM. So that'd be great. Cool. So, Nick, we're going to start off the show with what we usually do. Today is Wednesday. Friday is 2 days away, and Friday is record release day.
Yes.
So let's talk about a few things. I know that you didn't get your shipment yet, but we could talk about some of these and explain a little bit about what they are and why they're awesome. So Let's start up. What do you got?
Absolutely. So for my metalhead friends, I'm happy to say that coming out this Friday, after a long run of being out of print, Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath, as well as Melissa are being issued on colored vinyl, as well as King Diamond, Them, Abigail and Conspiracy, and Fatal Portrait, and The Eye.
I like The Eye.
All colored vinyl. I think these are coming out through Metal Blade. They usually do a good job on the packaging, always changing up the color, always making them a little different. But I think it's been a couple of years since any of those records have been available, and Don't Break the Oath and Melissa, both must owns in a metal collection, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're classic metal albums, hard to deny. And that was, King Diamond at his peak. I mean, all that, them is like the pinnacle of it, I would say. But yeah, I mean, grab them. Those are great albums to have. That's a great, it's funny that it's like almost his entire discography is coming out all at once. Just like, all right, I guess I got to work a couple extra hours at 7-Eleven to pick up these albums this week.
They're pretty affordable though. That's something that sometimes people go, oh, it's $40 for a record. Well, yeah, sometimes it is, but those are actually, I think they're like going to sell it like $26.99. That's not bad for a limited run on colored vinyl.
I just need to give a gigantic, and I hate to do this on the show, I need to give a gigantic fuck you to John Byrne for saying stupid things like this. Because he's wrong. He's just wrong, and he's wrong. So
he is wrong.
Very, very wrong. Nice guy sometimes. Actually, not really, and obviously a little slow on the uptake. So anyway, so King Diamond. All right, what else you got?
The big release people are excited about. We got Def Leppard's new album, Diamond Star Halos, is coming out.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's been a few singles that have been released already. You can find them on YouTube and listen to them. They're actually really good. And the inspiration behind this album was basically, if you to put in a word, T-Rex.
Yes.
It's essentially just 70s glam done with a modern spin, and it's really, really, really good. I'm excited to pick up this album this week.
Some of the best stuff I've heard come from Def Leppard in a long time. It's really great. I was happy to the single is slipping my mind, but they've been playing it a lot on Sirius radios. Yeah. And it's great. It's great. And that's going to be available on standard black vinyl. And there's also an indie store exclusive edition on clear vinyl.
Nice. Awesome. That's really, really cool. So looking forward to that as well. I know there's a third one you wanted to bring up.
The last one I will spotlight is finally coming out after a long delay. Nevermind 30th anniversary super deluxe box set on LP. So the CD version did come out on time, but due to all the production issues and everything, the LP version is coming out this Friday. It's got 4 full live concerts in it, as well as, of course, the original album, B-sides, demos, all kinds of stuff, a 40-page hardcover book. If you're a Nirvana fan, this is the record that everybody points to as a game changer, and it's nice to see it get the full 30th anniversary hoopla that it most certainly deserves.
Absolutely. And it's kind of funny. It seems everything that had a 40th anniversary, everything comes out, as I put it, a year late, but still great. We had Rush Moving Pictures that was delayed by a year for a myriad of reasons. And now this one was delayed for a myriad of reasons, all mainly because of production and supply chain, evil birds, supply chain.
John says $300 retail on the box. It should be retailing at about $260 to $270, depending on where you're grabbing it. So independent retailers should have it at about $260. At least that's what we're going to have it at. So if you're looking for a copy of it,
John will sell it for $2.99. Don't worry about it.
There you go.
So those are 3 great releases. Anything else of note that you want to toss out there?
Those are the big ones for me. I know there some of our customers are really excited about. There's an Erykah Badu reissue coming out of her late 90s, that big album that had Tyrone on it and everything. So, and that hasn't been in print in a long time either. So I know there's a lot of people excited about that.
Excellent. Well, that's what's going to be some highlights of what's going to be coming out this Friday. You got it directly from Nick. He gets them, nice and early. Usually, unfortunately, the past couple of weeks, distributors have been dropping the veritable ball and not getting things into them on time. I blame UPS. Actually, it's not blaming the distributors. UPS.
You'd be correct.
You be illin. Illin. Dum, 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 dum. All right. So cool. Great. So we got 13 people there. This is the most ever watching at one time. I didn't even know I knew 13 people. So
it's all because of me.
Yeah, like 8 of them, and I know like 3 of them, and 2 just tripped and fell. So today's topic, we wanted to talk about all killer, no filler. All right. These are basically albums that are perfect, for lack of a better word. Now, I'm going to throw in a little asterisk and say near perfect. There may be a song or two here that may not stand up, but that's because the rest of the songs are so good that it would be really hard for it to stand up. In some cases, the song that doesn't stand up on this album would sound really great on another album and stick out. So there is some of that in these picks. I don't know if there's a Maiden pick in the bunch, John. I didn't pick any. So I know Nick
didn't pick any either.
Well, you did. We discussed one. That'll be the bonus pick because I agree with that too.
Yes.
I agree with that one too. So there'll be a bonus Iron Maiden pick to shut John up because, he's very tall. Anyway, so basically these are, again, this is not a top 10. This is because top 10 lists are wrong. You know why? Because you probably don't believe it because it's not your top 10. This is very subjective. This is just my and Nick's opinion. And I grabbed a bunch of albums. I realized there's some I forgot. So I'll just throw out the names there at the end too. Like
I was just going to say, this was a topic when you and I talked about it. And I thought, okay, yeah, that because I already had albums in my head. Okay. That I would absolutely crown on this. And then as I was driving in today, after I already had pulled records, more started popping into my head. And throughout the day, I started going, oh yeah. And what about that one? And what about that one? And I see there's a comment from George Seepley. He says, Robin Trower, Bridge of Sighs, and Montrose. Absolutely.
They're great.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yep, 100%. So, again, your mileage may vary. This is not a comprehensive list. But what we want to do is talk about some albums that maybe you haven't thought about in that way or haven't listened to in a while and maybe you want to revisit or maybe just haven't heard them at all. And it's just a good way to be introduced to something maybe a little bit different. So I'm going to throw something up here. And I'll start off, if you don't mind.
No, yeah, I started the last two times. You started.
Okay, well, there you go. So I'm starting this time with one that's not even that big of a stretch. Okay. Pink Floyd, The Wall. And it's debatable as to whether or not every song on here is killer, but within the scope of the story and the concept, they fit. So because of that, you listen to this album from beginning to end, and it just makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, and never mind the amount of hits that are actually on this album. Even once, this is one of those that you can go deep into the album cuts and be very satisfied with what's coming on. I mean, of course, we all know Comfortably Numb and Hey You, but I mean, I love listening to The Trial. The Trial is just so orchestrated that Bob Ezrin's fingerprints are all over that.
Yes.
Who produced the album. He also produced Destroyer by Kiss, and he produced all the great
Love It to Death, Alice Cooper. Yeah.
So, just his hands are all over this, and you could tell because it made it cohesive. So, that's my first pick is Pink Floyd, The Wall. You can listen to this front to back and not get bored. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And huge shout out to one of my favorite Pink Floyd tracks, Young Lust.
Great song.
Yes.
Your turn.
I'm going to stay on the prog side of things and go with Fragile by Yes.
Nice.
Fantastic front to back. Same like you're mentioning with The Wall. Couple of their biggest hits are on here. Of course, Roundabout, which kicks off the album. There's also Long Distance Runaround is on here. But the songs South Side of the Sky and oh my God, I'm totally drawing a blank. What's
you have the album in your hand. Look at the track listing.
There is no track listing on it.
Pull out the album.
Oh, this has a book in it too. I forgot about that.
Heart of the Sunrise. A track listing.
Heart of the Sunrise is the song I was thinking of, which is fucking incredible. Chris Squire bass playing on it.
Absolutely.
For those that are Iron Maiden fans, Steve Harris, he got everything from Chris Squire. But this record, front to back, unstoppable, by far their best record.
We have a comment.
Can take or leave. We have heaven. I don't know. I like that.
All right. I went in a very violent direction for my second pick. And this is extremely formative album for me. And it cannot be denied how important it is to the metal community. And that's Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power. And everything on this album is good.
Crush.
Absolutely. Everything on this album is good. It's 11 crushing tracks, one after another, and they just stay brutal all the way from the beginning to the end. Now, of course, the iconic cover that goes along with it. Funny thing is, if I get this story right, if the story is correct that I can remember, the dude volunteered to do that. I think I got paid like $100, and they did this 19 times, and they took the first shot.
I didn't know that. I heard that it was like $50 a hit, and he got hit 19 times.
There's so many stories about it, but the story that I remember is it was like, I think it was 19 times, and they kept the first one, and that was like the best one.
Well, and you know what's great about that is that cover is like it's intense and it's kind of funny, right? But like what's illustrated in that cover is exactly what you get in those tracks. I mean, that it's 100%. Just a great representation of the
absolutely
of the music.
100%. Yep. You're up.
All right. So I'm going to go the complete opposite direction of you and go to probably the most unheavy thing that I picked, but I still think the title reigns. Tapestry, Carole King.
Yep.
Amazing. And as I always have to point out every week, I'm a huge Mo-Fi fan. This is the 2 LP 40 mastered at 45 edition from about 6-7 years ago. It just came out on Mo-Fi One Step. I don't have the One Step. I'm sure it's fantastic because this is fantastic. But you got I Feel the Earth Move, So Far Away, It's Too Late, You've Got a Friend. I mean, just classic after classic on this, and amazing piano playing, amazing singing, and of course the songwriting. This is maybe the best female record of all time. I don't know. I mean, I know that's debatable, but for me, this is the one I go to the most.
Let's call it definitively top 5.
Yes.
Definitively top 5. And, if you're anybody of a certain age, even if you didn't know that she did those songs, if you heard the album, you'd be like, oh, wait, I know that song. Oh, I know that song. Oh, I know that song. I know all these.
Yes.
One of those albums, you just know every song on it. So yes, absolutely. 100%. I went a little bit milder on this one, but it deserves to be talked about. And that's Def Leppard's Hysteria. Now, why is this a perfect album? Every song on side 1 was a Billboard charting hit, and like 2 on side 2 were charting hits. And the other songs are still pretty good. And they would be charting hits if they were on any other album but Hysteria.
Yeah.
You can listen to this album solidly. I mean, this was an MTV darling. No matter whichever way you looked, one of their videos was on in the mid to late 80s. So it just amazing album, great production by Mutt Lange. And especially coming out of having a 2-arm drummer and now having a 1-arm drummer.
Yeah.
Making that work. It was really impressive feat of not just of recording, but of technology and overcoming adversary. So, just an amazing album, period.
The title track is one of my favorite Def Leppard songs. I think it's a great tune.
The which one?
The title track, Hysteria.
Hysteria is a great song. Every song on this album is really good to great. Bottom line.
I agree.
Thank you. You're up.
Aqualung.
My friend.
Yes. This is the quadraphonic one too. I just realized I grabbed the wrong one.
Well, I don't think anybody can hear the difference right now.
No. And nobody can hear the difference, period, because nobody has a quadraphonic setup. But this record, again, the title track, a masterpiece. Of course, Locomotive Breath, the song My God, Wind Up, front to back, again, like you brought up with The Wall, the concept that goes through it and the story it tells. But just amazing playing, from heavy riffs like Aqualung all the way to, the acoustic stuff. This record is it's one of those ones where I think perfect record. Absolutely.
Yep. George has a really nice comment about Tapestry that I just put up on the screen there. So yeah, that's, and a lot of times, our subjectiveness is based around when you got things or what, like you received it. And for some reason, everything just resonates with you more. And I'm sure that that's partly the case. It's a great album to begin with, but to be given the album when, like his sister got the album, she played it over and over and over, so it brings back good memories if you like your sister. If you don't, then maybe not so much. But either way, a nice memory there.
I don't know, John. I know you know him, but does he have anything good to say?
Not usually, no. And so that's why I'm just sort of like ignoring most of his comments. Though I will say that he's right. Bruce Dickinson's cover of Cross-Eyed Mary is actually pretty good. It's not terrible. Would it be on Cover to Covered as a discovered track? No, I still like the original.
Iron Maiden covered Cross-Eyed Mary. It wasn't even Bruce solo.
I thought it was Bruce solo.
No, it's the B. It's the B side of the Trooper.
Well, see there, you know more than me. You know more than John.
Well, I'm sure Bruce did it as well.
Than John. John, you should sulk away with your tail between your legs, my friend. Jeez, Patty, let him have it.
How about Andrew's comment there too about Aqualung, similar to George's about Tapestry?
Whoops, wrong one. There we go. Yeah, Andrew says, I was 3 when Aqualung came out. My brother is 10 years older and he played it nonstop. To date, still my favorite album. So yeah, again, it's one of those where, where you got it from, where the influence came from, when you were listening to it. For me, that's Destroyer. When I was a kid, it was like one of the first Kiss records I was given. I was like 6. 6 years old, like, oh, cool, yeah. And like, you don't know what any of the words mean, and you're singing, like Great Expectations. It's just really weird. Like, watch me playing guitar, and you want to know what my hands can do. It's really weird for a 6-year-old to be doing that. Yeah, I just sounded like a munchkin. Whatever.
It's really weird for Gene Simmons to be singing too.
I must say, Nick, it's great to be back on the show. This is Gene Simmons of Kiss. I don't know why we're not charging admission on Kiss.com. We need to have admission charged.
We are on an IOU system here.
Listen, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You are not monetizing. You must make the money off Gene Simmons from Kiss. Kiss.com, Kiss condoms, Kiss coffin. We get you coming and going.
You finally brought it in. There you go.
I had to bring it in. So is it my turn?
Yes, it is your turn.
All right. Again, these are in no particular order. Again, this is not a top 10 list. This is very just subjective, and we're just riffing here.
Oh, I disagree on that.
All right, you can suck a dick, but Master of Puppets, think about it. This is this and Rain and Blood, which I actually don't have, and I was going to talk about. Those two are quintessential thrash albums that you can listen to front to back with nary a bad song.
Especially Rain and Blood, which is 10 times better than that one.
And 10 times shorter.
Yeah, it doesn't right, because they got it done quicker.
Time is like 28 minutes on Rain and Blood.
Yeah, which is why it's fucking great. Like they got to the point a lot faster than Metallica with fucking 8-minute instrumentals and all that.
Oh my God, are you saying that you don't like Orion?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
All right, listen, again, we're going back to the whole your taste is squarely in your mouth thing. This album is amazing front to back. It's master. What would you pick a better Metallica album?
I like Ride the Lightning more.
Ride the Lightning's a great album. That's number 2 in my mind. This is number 1. So, plus I love the guitar sound better on this.
It definitely sounds better, and I would say it's probably Metallica at their like creative best. But like, I just think they're more aggressive on Ride the Lightning. But my favorite Metallica song is probably Battery. So maybe Master of Puppets is pretty good.
Actually, I'm going to differ with you on one thing, and tell me if you agree with me. I don't think that they were more aggressive on Ride the Lightning. I think they were darker on Ride the Lightning. I think Puppets is more aggressive, but Ride the Lightning, the chord changes, like especially in the title track, Ride the Lightning, it's very haunting. It's a very dark album, far darker than Puppets, but Puppets is more like blunt force trauma. In my mind, the way I see it, it's just
I think it's the culmination of everything of the first 3 records.
Well, that was the third record.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's the culmination of the first 2 and their growth.
Oh,
John says Ride, but Puppets is better than the other crap you've had up so far.
I know John is really loving this right now. You know why? Because I do this to him every time he goes live on Facebook with his vinyl auction. So,
payback, Patty. There is no bad Metallica. That is incorrect, Patty.
That is extremely incorrect. And last week we discussed that.
There's like 30 good Metallica songs out of 120 that have been released.
I don't know about that, but most everything on Load, Reload, and Saint Anger is just god awful. Moving on. Your turn, sir.
I am going to go with Paul McCartney, Ram.
You want to ram Paul McCartney?
No.
Oh.
He's got a ram.
This show is taking a turn, man. I'm going to have to call HR.
This record is Paul's second solo record. First one with Linda, which, maybe is not a good thing, but the songs, I don't think he ever took more chances than he did on that record. There's a lot of experimental stuff, a lot of harmony work with just unknown guys and him. He if you know the story of that album, he put out a thing for open auditions and held them in like this rundown house in New York. And that's how he got the drummer and the guitar player that played on that record. And I think it's just amazing what he created. And like I said, I don't think any other time in his career, of course, outside of the Beatles, did he take the creative steps that he did on that one. So I just think all encompassing, it's his best work outside of the Beatles.
Okay. This one's a no-brainer.
Oh yeah. Fantastic.
We're not even going to spend time on it. Like Led Zeppelin 4, if you don't think it's a perfect album that you can't listen to start to finish, just leave.
Something tells me John doesn't think so.
I mean, look, shut up. At this point, I will not listen to Stairway to Heaven anymore. I don't have to. Like, I'm done. But that doesn't take away from this being a perfect album for most anybody else. It's still a perfect album because Stairway to Heaven is still Stairway to Heaven. I just don't want to listen to it anymore.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's still great. Yeah. I mean, it's still the mountaintop as far as I'm concerned, but You don't need to hear it every time it's on. Although I've never turned it off.
Well, that's you.
Wait, throw up my buddy Tony Savona's comment there.
Let's see. I'm absolutely on board with both Bridge of Sighs and or Blood on the Tracks from Bob Dylan.
Yes.
Again, these are great albums. Absolutely. And you don't pick up the needle. You just let it go. So yeah, absolutely. 100%. I agree. All right. Your turn, Nick.
I just went. Oh, you skipped. Oh yeah. Cause we went so fast on on Zeppelin 4. Sorry. I wasn't prepared. So here's one. This recently came into my life. I was not familiar with this album and it blew my mind. And I think front to back, it's an absolute masterpiece. XTC's Skylarking.
Amazing album.
Amazing. So this was produced by Todd Rundgren, who, is amazing in his own right. But this record is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a sonic masterpiece.
Yep, 100%.
And what's great about the reissue that's available is, again, if you know your history on this album, when it first came out, there was a polarity issue with the mastering and it lost all the low end. So the version that was out for 15 years or so had little to no low end or bass to it. And the reissue has corrected that problem. It sounds amazing. And again, a loose concept of basically of life, of going through life. And it's just lyrically fantastic and it's fucking great. John doesn't think so, but he likes Metallica. So that tells me all I need to know. The song most folks know on here is Dear God.
Yeah.
And after, not to get political, but after yesterday's events, a song like that comes into play and you really go, what a masterpiece,
That's like the atheist theme song, essentially.
Yes.
That's a very angry song with a really cool melody. Now, if I'm not incorrect, I believe that there was a remix that was reissued along with a bunch of other XTC albums by Stephen
Wilson.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wilson. So
digital only, or not digital only, but only available on the Blu-ray.
Yeah. And it's 5.1 mix. And they anything that Stephen Wilson does is, in my mind, bulletproof. I mean, the dude has a pair of ears I would kill for. I'm not talking about visually. He just has the most amazing pair of ears for remixing these classic albums. If you see anything that's been remixed by Stephen Wilson, pick it up. I guarantee you, I don't even care what the genre or who the band is. Like Chicago 2 remixed by him,
mind blowing,
unbelievably outstanding. So
when I showed that quadraphonic version of Aqualung, what I thought I had grabbed was the Stephen Wilson remix of it. Yep. And he did a great job with Yes Fragile. Yep. He did a great job with Kiss Destroyer.
Yep.
He just did it. It's Black Sabbath Volume 4. I mean,
Dolby Atmos mix for Kiss. And I have an Atmos system in my living room, and I turned that up and I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble, but I don't care because this sounds really, really good.
Yes.
It's great. Awesome. All right. Next up, speaking of Black Sabbath.
I'm surprised to see you pick Master of Reality.
There's nothing wrong with this album at all.
Oh, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Most people point to Volume 4 or Paranoid.
Volume 4 is a great album. I'm going to say this. I'm sick of Snowblind. I'm just done. And then there's FX.
Right. That blows.
There's a couple weird things going on there, but on here, on this, it starts off with Sweet Leaf. Okay, that's a great way to go. After Forever, Embryo is actually a cool instrumental going right into Children from the of the Grave. Then you have Orchid into Lord of this World. Okay, Solitude is okay. It's a little too mellow and kind of weird. It almost is like Jethro Tull, but hey, Tony Iommi was in Jethro Tull until he cut his fingers off. So, and then finishing up with Into the Void. Yeah, it's just, again, and think about the time frame that this came out. Brutal, crushing album for the time. Even today, it stands up and is super heavier than 98% of the bands putting out something called heavy.
Yes. Andrew says I'd have gone with Volume 4.
It was a close call, but I mean, again, just, there's just a couple, FX kind of ruins it for me. Just all right, this is a cocaine induced song. Hey, you got a delay pedal. I
think on what's great is on Wikipedia, there's something that said, how it always breaks down the track listing and stuff. And it says something like effects was recorded by Tony Iommi throwing things at his guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Totally. 100%. All right, you're up.
Wait, hang on. I want to touch here again on John's comment. He's listing all the Iron Maiden records, including X Factor and Virtual 11, which are two of the worst albums of all time.
Yeah. Again, no accounting for taste with John. It's certainly not. He's a nice guy, and I have a helmet for him and a window for him to lick.
Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah. Wait, can you put up Tony's comment? Am I able to do that? No, you're controlling it.
Yeah, I control everything.
I'm so tempted to throw Songs from the Big Chair, Tears for Fears. Absolutely. Another great one front to back. And you hear a lot of that influence in the XTC stuff. Obviously, same era. I don't know who was stealing from who. Obviously, XTC was around before Tears for Fears, but kind of a different band.
Yeah,
so
different thing.
So, but good call, Tony. That's another great one.
All right, you're up.
Okay. Another MoFi, and this is the one I teased in my Facebook post earlier. The band, the self-titled, otherwise known as the Brown album.
Brown.
Other than The Weight, this has all the band's biggest songs on it. So it's got Across the Great Divide, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, Up on Cripple Creek, Rag Mama Rag. Again, I love researching these albums and finding out what they did to go to record these. and they were all cooped up in a house, not the big pink house, but one in LA where they were recording, and they would switch instruments, and just great Americana rock here, probably the beginning of what's called Americana. And the best versions of some of these songs, I think, are of course part of The Last Waltz, but this album front to back is just I think it's an American classic, even though most of these guys are Canadian.
Truth. We won't hold that against them.
Fantastic. Great stuff. And shout out to my dad, who, when I brought this home the first time, and I was like, "Oh, Dad, you into this record?" And he's like, "No." He just said no, and then he goes, "I've always hated that they look like a bunch of guys that from the Civil War that got dropped in the 60s."
Except for Robbie Robertson. He's got he's a little bit more modern in that one.
Yes.
Oh, John Byrne has more comments. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, but he's the same guy that listed all of these albums too. So why don't you just give the 3 bands you like? Just put the entire discography of the 3 bands you like, and guess what? You won't be wrong because you like them and you feel that they are perfect albums.
Next, he's going to say "Promised Land" by Queensryche.
Yeah, really, or whatever. But look, he also said, "Virtual XI" by Iron Maiden. So there's that.
Yeah.
Terrible. Anyway, yeah, terrible album, terrible band.
Ooh,
they're not a terrible band.
They're not a terrible band.
Yeah, I like Iron Maiden, but they put out a lot of product that a lot of people don't know, and some of it should be left unknown. Great. Next up,
Europe. Oh yeah, Fair Warning.
Yep,
Fair Warning, baby.
Someone said fair warning. Yeah, Fair Warning. Was it like 9 songs, 17 minutes? It's just a super short album, but every song on here is great. And the thing about it is every song is so different than the one that came before it or the one that comes after it. So, Unchained, Push Comes to Shove, 2 very, very, very different songs. It's just a dirty, filthy album, just dark and evil and just good. It's just angry.
Yes, I love dirty movies. I still, as a drummer, have no fucking clue what is going on Sinner's Swing. I have no idea what the count is that's happening.
Who knows?
Him, Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony are the most underrated rhythm section in hard rock, or in rock in general, because there's a lot of great ones. But what's going on in that song is unbelievable. Like it's sick.
Yeah, Sinner's Swing has it's almost like a fast boogie.
Yeah, totally.
It really is. It's just like a really sped up boogie, and it's and all those the breakdown right in the beginning with dun 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 dun. If you were looking at charts, you're like, all right, he went from like 5/8 to 6/8 to 8 4/4 to 3.
Right, or the part in the middle of the song where they just stop and it's just Eddie playing that.
Yep.
And him and Dave. That's Van Halen at its absolute best.
And again, it's so dirty. It's just a filthy album. Just a filthy album, start to finish, in the best way possible. So,
yes.
Sure.
All right. I'm out of records, at least to show, but we talked about this last night. My number 1 favorite album of all time, bar none, although there's a couple that come close, but it's got to be this one. The unsung hero. I always get on the soapbox for it. Jellyfish Spilt Milk, an absolute masterpiece.
Jellyfish is, for the uninitiated, I feel bad.
Yes.
Because this is such a great power pop band that I discovered way too late. Way too late. I really discovered Jellyfish just a couple of years ago. I had known about them.
Yes.
I never really listened to them because, in the mid 90s, early 90s, I was all about, like grunge and, flannels, and these guys were colorful and, covers like this. And like, I don't understand this. So why even give it a chance to listen to? But then if somebody had told me, no, these guys are kind of like Cheap Trick on steroids, I would have been like, oh, wait, let me give this a shot.
Yes.
That's really what they are. They're just Cheap Trick on steroids with better melodies. It's like Cheap Trick meets Queen meets the Beatles.
And meets XTC. I hear a lot of that influence in
a little bit of that in there too. Yeah, absolutely. So it's probably some of the best power pop you will ever hear. And that album is so well produced.
It's incredible. And, I was a young kid when my dad got this record, and the band had already broken up by that point and everything, but he played it constantly because it blew his mind. And so I had it kind of like instinctually in me. But as I've gotten older, this is always the record I reach for. I think it's just absolute greatness. I would put it up there for me, with Pet Sounds, with Sgt. Pepper, with all of those sonic masterpieces. It doesn't get any better as far as I'm concerned. That's, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, what's the best record of all time? For me, it's this one.
Jeff Henderson finally said something intelligent.
Amazing band, but Belly Button is so much better. Okay.
No, not that one. Not that one. What I posted.
Okay. Ghost at number 1 is flawless, but hang on. Let's touch on that, because Belly Button is phenomenal as well. For those again that are uninitiated, Jellyfish only made 2 records. Belly Button was first, and then Spilt Milk. Okay, so Belly Button is incredible as well, but I think how Spilt Milk pieces together and how it flows and the different vibe and the different feels that it have and how they connect with each other is what makes it better than Belly Button. Because I love Belly Button. It's up there in my top 10 as well, but as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't hold a candle to Spilt Milk.
Yeah, Spilt Milk is just, it's amazing. It's a great, for me, that's the thing that separates it, is the production. Not that Belly Button had bad production, it had very good production, actually very clean and very seamless. It's just a little bigger. The drums are a little bigger. Actually, some of the tom sounds that are on that album, I've heard other drummers say that's like the best tom sound, and they all wish they can get that for their own album. Like, it's just amazing. So, and you know, just as far as multi-instrumentalists, like everybody in that band played multiple things or sang or what have you. I mean, just they're such a great band, and they will never get back together ever, 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 ever again. But 3 of the guys, minus Andy Sturmer, who was the singer/drummer,
who played drums standing up while he sang lead vocals.
Exactly, which was really weird. But the other 3 guys have a band called the Licorice Quartet, and you can check those guys out. I think they're on Apple Music, but they definitely have a bunch of videos on YouTube. And it sort of picks up where that left off, with a little bit more of an edge, a little bit more of a difference. Roger Joseph Manning Jr. is actually singing on it. You have to say his whole name. You can't just say Roger Manning. You have to say Roger Manning Jr.
Roger is he's sort of a friend. We've exchanged a ton of emails, because I messaged him when I was 12 and said this, I found him on MySpace and sent him a message and told him that record changed my life. And we've been in and out of contact since then. But he also tours with Beck, along with Jason Faulkner, who was in Jellyfish for Belly Button. So the first time I ever got to meet Roger, Beck was coming through, and I sent him an email and I said, man, I would just love to meet you in person. And he said, absolutely, I'd love to have you come down. So he had me come down, he hooked me up with tickets and everything. And when Jason Faulkner walked out on the stage, I almost shit myself. I was
Did you plots?
I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to meet both these guys. And then here was the best part. When we were in the back stage, meeting, and I had him sign a bunch of stuff, Roger, this humbly, said to another guy that was in the band, he goes, hey, I forget what the guy's name was, but I think it was Chris. He's like, hey, Chris, hey, come check this out. And he signed in my copy of Spilt Milk. He goes, this is mine and Jason's first band. And I was like, well, that's one way to put it.
Wow. Okay. Whew. Yeah. How about the best band that they were in too? No offense to Beck.
No.
But, yeah. I mean, Jellyfish. Unfortunately, Jellyfish turned out to be one of those musicians bands that really influenced a lot of people, kind of like Failure. Mm-hmm. I love Failure, and they're touring again. They're playing the day before NAMM in San Diego, and I can't be there. I'm so angry because Failure puts on such a great show. And Ken Andrews, if you're watching, which I know you're not, please join us because you also have an amazing set of ears, sonically, not visually. I haven't looked at your ears visually. I'm sure they're lovely. Anyway, so Failure and Jellyfish, I kind of put those in the same sort of influential bucket. It's, kind of like Stars,
Yes.
bands like that, a lot of people don't know, but they influence so many other bands. So, great. So I have like way too many more. So I'm just going to sum it up with this one, because if I don't put up one Rush album, I'm going to be in trouble. And now this is not my favorite album. It is not. Farewell to Kings is my favorite album, but you kind of can't do a perfect album podcast without bringing up Led Zeppelin 4 and Moving Pictures by Rush.
Great one. I tried to, for me personally, because I could have showed every goddamn record I showed last episode for this as well. So I tried purposely to go with something I hadn't talked about yet, but you're absolutely right. Moving Pictures, Zeppelin 4. What else did we talk about? Somebody brought up Blood on the Tracks. That's another one of my top 5 favorites. Absolutely. I showed that for the white label promo. I mean, any of the first 5 Zeppelin records, the list goes on and on. There's so many, and I hope we get into a couple bonus picks here, because as I was driving today, I almost crashed my truck trying to put it on my list of going, how the hell did I not remember that?
Well, this was brought up when we were talking about Jellyfish, and this is exactly why this podcast exists. It's to just have you think about different things and think about music differently, and find something that you may like that you didn't give a chance or you never heard of before. If you've never heard of Jellyfish before, you need to listen to Jellyfish. It may not be your cup of tea, but you can understand where we're coming from with the melody and that whole power pop sensibility that they were just so good at.
Yes.
So anyway, great. So I have a couple of others that I don't have, like Steely Dan's Asia. Again, it was one of those other albums that we had talked about. Like, you need to have this in your record collection. Like, yeah, you need it. I didn't pull it though. And Tapestry was another one, but I'm glad you brought it up. But yeah, Steely Dan Asia, 7 songs. Perfect. You can listen to it without stopping. Every song on the album, even the weird tracks, them. What else you got?
The 2 biggest ones I forgot that I don't have to show, but I think definitely qualify for this. And I'm going to go with a classic, more of a pop rock album and a metal album. And my metal album, I actually tied it Holy Diver by Dio and Heaven and Hell by Sabbath. That's my favorite Sabbath record. Tied on the metal side for perfect front to back. And then for the pop rock, Get the Knack.
Really?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. What's not good on Get the Knack?
I'm gonna have to listen to it again, but besides My Sharona, I kind of don't care.
Oh, then you got your head up your ass if you think that record is so good. Great drumming, great songs. My Sharona is like the weakest track on that record.
You're a weak track.
You're a weak track.
You're a weak track. I don't know what that means, but I insulted you somehow. Okay, look, again, those are your choices. There's nothing wrong with them except you're wrong, but there's nothing wrong with them. So, oh wait, we're talking about bushy bearded people.
Said you know him?
Alice, meaning Jellyfish, and some guy with a big bushy beard stopped us as we were leaving, and we talked to him for about 15 minutes. He left, and all these people came up to said, "You know him?" No idea who it was. It was Jerry Garcia.
Hey, man, that's pretty awesome. Hey, man, Jerry. There you go.
All right. I love this. He was kind of disguised. What was he wearing? A Groucho nose? Like, how could Jerry Garcia be disguised?
I can't believe Jerry Garcia was seeing another band. That's pretty cool.
I can't believe Jerry Garcia was lucid. Can't believe Jerry Garcia was a musician.
Oh, shut up.
I can't believe the Grateful Dead made money. I can't believe they made albums. I can't believe they made music.
Let's get off of this and click on Andrew's comment that says the Cars debut fits this category. I agree.
100%. Yeah. Yep.
And then we left live albums out, Mike, but
we did.
I think for sure Kiss Alive And Iron Maiden Live After Death qualify as well.
Live After Death, I go with. Alive, no.
Why? What's weak on Alive, dude? Nothing.
Live After Death was not really enhanced.
I'm so tired of this argument. Who cares that it was enhanced?
I do.
And if you think Iron Maiden didn't enhance some of that shit, you're out of your mind.
Not as much as Kiss did.
Well, nobody does anything as much as Kiss
does in the studio. Half the album was redone in the studio. So come on.
I would also say Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous.
There we go.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Exactly.
It's a great solo.
Mm-hmm. The answer is no. But Live After Death, though.
Ducky, back me up on this one. I can't believe the crap you're talking right now.
All right, listen. Here's the thing with live albums, though, and that's why we didn't pick them. In my opinion, live albums are just greatest hits albums done in front of an audience. So, which is fine if you're going to the show, but it's sort of a cheat if you're saying a perfect album. You know, if you want to talk about greatest live albums and in that category, yeah, Live After Death and Kiss Alive and Kiss Alive 2 for that matter, Intensity in 10 Cities, Double Live Gonzo, whatever, you know, all those fit. Absolutely. You know, Exit Stage Left and All the World's a Stage too. You know, all of these are incredible.
Strangers in the Night, UFO.
Yeah, all incredible live albums. I'm sure there was some Vane album that Jeff wants to talk about that was done live that never came out, and there's some test pressing somewhere that he wants to buy from some Sherpa in you know, Southern Sahara for $10,000 at some point.
Can you put up Gall McCartney's comment?
Scarily enough, that's a good album. So there's that. You know,
that's great.
And yeah, I've heard lots of things Pigpen has done. He was my favorite Peanuts character. Anyway, yeah, I know who Pigpen is. Listen to this. Shut up.
Roger was just defending Pigpen.
He was not. God. All right. So if anybody else has any that they'd like to contribute, please throw them in the feed here, and we'd love to pop them up for you. Yeah, here we go. We got some other ones coming in. Scorpions, Tokyo Tapes, and Humble Pie at Fillmore. They're great live albums. Speaking of the Fillmore, Allman Brothers.
Yep. Well, Tony's got that there. You guys have to give the Allman Brothers at the Fillmore West do fucking incredible every note.
Absolutely. And like a lot of the Zappa, you can't do that on stage anymore, or can't do that. Yes. I think it was volume 3 or 4 had a great version of Montana on it where somebody wanted them to play Whipping Post.
Volume 4.
That was 4. Yeah. Everything comes back to volume 4.
Yep.
Everything is volume 4.
How about Garney? Is that Mark Garney? It's gotta be. Hi, Mark. I didn't even think about that. Elton John, Madman Across the Water. Yeah, it's a great one.
Actually, hear this.
I know. I was just going to point that out. Real quick about Madman Across the Water. They're doing a 50th anniversary box set that's coming out, I believe, next month.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got some B-sides and demos, live performances, and it also comes with a 5.1 mix.
Steven Wilson?
I think it might be. Don't quote me on that one. I think it might be. Okay. Elton's really up on his he buys a lot of music, so I wouldn't be shocked if he got Steven Wilson to do it. Nelson After the Rain.
Perfect album. All right, great. Moving on. Again, if anybody has any that they want to throw into the chat here, we'll post them up as time goes on. Be happy to hear what you have to say about it. And if anybody has any questions, please ask. There's like 10 of you watching, so there may be one of you that wants to know something besides, I'm not even going to get into the questions I'll probably get asked. So
some of these guys would ask legitimate questions. Tony Savona and Mark Garney are good people.
Absolutely.
Gall McCartney, he's not going to have any good questions.
No, Gall McCartney is about two chromosomes shy of being a human. So
oh God,
there's that. But anyway, I mean, his name is Goldfish. Come on, there's reasons for this.
Oh, that's that was worth doing the entire show right there.
How did I get my hairline? This is a great question to be asked. How did I get my hairline? By getting old.
by working in the music industry.
By getting old and working in the music industry. How did you get your chins, Jeff? That's my question for you. Anyway, so moving on to our next topic, our next segment, which is called Discovered. And this is where the show gets its name from, Cover to Covered, where we discuss a cover song, covered, that we like as much, if not more, than the original. And I didn't think of one until about 5 minutes because I really didn't put much thought into it. There's so many good ones. I figured I would think of something. And I did think of something. And it ties in to This Song Sucks, which is our next segment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to defer, since I went first on the first part. Nick, what cover would you like to talk about?
Okay, so my pick this week, usually one of the most pointed at top cover songs of all time, but I do think that it's justified. It's took a great song, turned it on its head, made it his own. Jimi Hendrix's cover of Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower. The Dylan version is great. It's haunting. It's on John Wesley Harding from 1969. A then unknown Charlie Daniels playing bass on that, by the way. But Dylan's version is great. Hendrix took that and just made it an absolute guitar assault. The great thing that I always love to hear, and it's always great to hear in headphones if you're listening to Electric Ladyland, the slide that he plays coming out of the guitar solo is a Zippo lighter. And you can hear it. You can hear it scratch against the strings. I love that. But there's, of course, you were talking about famous stories earlier about the Pantera. There's, of course, the story of when Dylan heard Hendrix's version of All Along the Watchtower. He sent him a letter that said, "This is the first time I've heard one of my songs done better," or no, I'm sorry, not done better, but how I originally had heard it and didn't record it that way. And Dylan since then has played the Hendrix arrangement of All Along the Watchtower. And
Wow.
I think if you're a Bob Dylan fan, which I'm a Bob Dylan freak, I think that's the highest honor you could be granted, is for a guy like that to say, this is a better version of the song.
Even I'm not a Bob Dylan fan, but that would be like, yeah, coronation, just
Yes.
put the crown on. That's pretty awesome. That's a cool story. For me, the theme is Van Halen. Van Halen's done lots and lots of covers. I'll bring up another one later on, but this one, my cover and This Song Sucks are both on the same album. So for the cover, I'm going to go with "Oh, Pretty Woman."
Okay, so I thought it was going to be the other way around. So I know where you're going now.
So yeah, Pretty Woman with Intruder to start it, which was really funny. And the story behind that, there's like this whole like semi-instrumental that leads into Pretty Woman. And what happened was they finished the album and they needed more run-in for the video for Pretty Woman, because they had if anybody's seen the video, it's like a bad cowboys and Indians sort of video, very kitschy and low budget.
David Lee Roth definitely at the helm on that.
Totally has his fingerprints all over that too. But there's that, couple of minutes of music at the beginning of it that sounds like it leads seamlessly into it. That was done well after the fact. And that's David Lee Roth and Alex Van Halen doing that. Like Alex Van Halen playing drums. And I forget, David Lee Roth was just like playing a keyboard. And then I think just took a guitar and just was making noise with it. Like, I don't think anybody else in the band had anything to do with that except for those two guys. So, yeah, there's a little bit of interesting trivia on that one.
Sounds like some nose candy was involved.
You think? It was the early 80s. It was snowing in Southern California and Florida, for that matter. But yeah, so that was what I went with for my Discovered. I really like that version of it, except that he leaves out a verse.
Yeah. I never understood that. What was up with that?
Nose candy. Nose candy, bad arrangement in some ways. Oh, look. See, now I said it, Jeff. I said it. I like that better than the Roy Orbison version. I'm sorry. I just do. I'm not saying it's the best cover ever. I like it better than at least as much as the Roy Orbison version.
Because the thing that the Roy Orbison version has that the Van Halen one doesn't have is the passion in the vocals, which is what Roy Orbison did better than anybody.
Yeah.
So that is lost by David Lee Roth, I think. But when you're talking about the band track, I mean, yeah, of course the Van Halen one's better.
Yes. So that's why the qualifications are as much, if not more.
I would say it's on the level.
Yeah. So
different approach.
Great. Moving on to This Song Sucks. Now, we never talk about this beforehand. We say what band, but we don't say songs. I don't even know which way you went with this, because I know initially you said it was going to be one band, and then you said, oh, well, it might be this other band. So I'm going to let you go first on this one, and we'll see if we meet in the middle here.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned, we usually discuss the band only. So when you brought up that your pick was going to be Van Halen, that got my mind going, because there's a lot of Van Halen. As much as I love Van Halen, there's a lot of Van Halen I can't stand. Most of it.
By the way, we need to acknowledge Tony's comment here, Summertime Blues by Blue Cheer. Now, what did we do the first episode that you and I did this? I picked Summertime Blues by Rush, which is the combination of the Blue Cheer and the Who's version.
Yes.
And they're both great versions of Summertime Blues. And I think that Rush's version is just like the great conglomeration of both of them. So
and Tony's absolutely right. That's flat out metal before metal. You're right.
So anyway,
what was I saying? Van Halen. So there's a lot of Van Halen I can't stand. Most of it in the Sammy Hagar era. So
truth.
I am going to go with one of my most hated songs ever, and I know I'm going to get shit for this, but fuck Dreams by Van Halen.
I'm okay with that choice.
Why? Okay, and here's the thing. Sammy Hagar is a great singer. This has nothing to do with his ability to sing. And you could give me the sales pitch of, oh, well, they were even more popular with Sammy and they had more commercial success. I get all that. And you're right. And Sammy Hagar writes good songs. Why did they put that out where he is not singing in key? Like, he's like at the top of his range. It's like nails on the chalkboard. That song is horrible. I hate it. It's one of my most hated songs ever. It's so bad. I know there's people that love it and people that get a lot of inspiration from it. I hate that song with a passion. Sorry.
I don't hate it like you do. I don't, but I really have this hard dividing line between, pre and post Dave. Like it's not pre and post, Sammy Hagar. It's pre and post Dave. Like, let's be honest. Okay. Right. And, when 5150 came out, everybody was just like, at first, and people went to the shows, and subsequently, like, the audiences dropped over time, and next thing you know, they're playing like they're opening for other people, so there's got to be something to that, and David Lee Roth was just doing this at the time. So
I not to like, I don't want it to seem like my dad is just the pillar of all music knowledge, but that, I get a lot of that from him. And I remember him telling me, asking him about Sammy Hagar joining Van Halen, and him going, I remember when we heard that news, we were like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be cool. But because Sammy was huge in his solo stuff and, he had his own thing. And he's like, and the first thing I heard was Love Walks In. And he goes, and I almost drove my truck into the freeway median.
I will say that OU812 is a great album. That album, like, they rebounded with that. I think the songs on that are way better than anything on 5150 and anything that came after that they did.
Yeah, but doesn't OU812 have Why Can't This Be Love on it?
No.
I'm
When
pretty
it's
sure
love.
when it's but is it Why Can't This Be Love on it
That's
too?
150.
It is?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay, I'll trust you
That's the only.
because I hate that
Like,
fucking
you
song too.
would you like to phone a friend? You want a 50-50?
Yeah, 50-50.
Yeah. All right. So Gall McCartney again. He's just a piece of shit.
What's the one good song, Gall McCartney?
They do a really good version of an apolitical blues. Apolitical Blues by Little Feat on that album too.
Okay.
On OU812. Is it a perfect album? No, but I dig a lot of what's on that album. Like, Source of Infection is a great kind of callback to the David Lee Roth days, like that sort of speedy kind of beat that's on there. And really good guitar work from Eddie Van Halen. And
But
Black
that goes without saying.
too. Yeah. So my song, speaking of Van Halen, here we go. Again, I said that my two songs today, Discovered and This Song Sucks, come from the same album, and the album is Diver Down. Diver Down is a very polarizing album for anybody that likes Van Halen, because like every other song is a cover, and one song is clarinet on it. Big Bad Bill is Sweet William now. Like his dad's, Eddie Van Halen's dad is playing clarinet on it. Like, this is Van Halen. Like, I don't know. But with that said, there's a lot of great songs on the album, like Little Guitars. It's amazing. What's not good is Secrets.
Oh, okay. That's what you're going with. I thought you were going to say their cover of Where Have All the Good Times Gone.
No, that one I don't like as much as the Kinks, that's for sure. But do I hate it? No, I don't hate it. I just don't really like it that much. But Secrets, that song is a bag of shit on fire left on a doorstep, or at least it should be. It is so not good. And I don't know what they were thinking. And supposedly David Lee Roth was inspired by postcards or some shit like that when he wrote the lyrics. I'm like, this is terrible. This is god awful. It's like bad vacation reggae-ish sort of MOR nonsense. Anything that is not Van Halen, that song is.
Yeah, it's not good.
It is not good. That song sucks. It just sucks. And it's not like it's one of those songs like we were talking about before, like say with Def Leppard Hysteria, Don't Shoot Shotgun is a great song, but on Hysteria, it's like the 9th best song. On any other album, it might be the 2nd best song, right? Secrets on any album would suck.
It would always be the worst.
It would always be the worst track on any Van Halen record in the David Lee Roth era.
Yeah, it would be the 2nd best song on a Sammy Hagar Van Halen.
It might be. It might make it to the top 5, which would not be hard.
Sidebar, the song I was thinking of, because I just looked it up on the other computer here, that I was trying to think of that I can't stand on OU812 is Finish What You Started.
Oh yeah, no, that song's not. That's a better version of Secrets in my mind.
You still say it's better though.
Better than Secrets, yeah. Because at least you can kind of want to sing that song, and it has sort of a catchy sort of hook to it. But Secrets just sucks. It just sucks. It's just fucking terrible. Soup to nuts. God bad. Now, this was just brought up.
I would think Van Halen 3 Overborn in the USA. So would I.
This. I don't. Was somebody else there?
No, what are you talking about?
I heard like another voice. That's just weird.
Oh, I know what it is, Mike. Yeah, that was me by accident. There's touch pads on the Procaster. Yeah. It's samples in the Procaster. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was reaching over to move the mouse.
We need to get some of those loaded up with like applause and laughs. We need to have some, we need to have some of that going on. But yeah, Van Halen 3, I don't even think they want to acknowledge that album ever. I don't think Gary Cherone wants to acknowledge that album. I don't think anybody wants to acknowledge that album ever existed. In fact, I could never name a song off that album.
Without you.
Now I can name one song off that album because you just told me. It's bad.
Here's the thing. Okay, Dennis is just razzing me because
and now he's doubling down. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But here's the thing, Mike, because we got to go back to what you said about Hysteria earlier. Okay. Born in the USA is the same thing where there's 11 tracks on that record and 8 of them were smash fucking hits.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the three that aren't hits are the three best songs on the record. So to try and use that as a slight, I disagree.
Yeah, there you go. Gall McCartney chimed in with Gary Sharon's great. He forgot to write in the band Extreme.
Yeah, Gall McCartney, get the funk out.
I love that album. I honestly thought about bringing that album into the things you can listen to start to finish. Extreme 2.
Really?
Yeah, I love that album. I think that's, as far as like the late, that was one of the last Hair albums, because it was like 1990 or 91 when that came out, right before that whole market crashed. That still stands the test of time because Nuno Bettencourt is on fire on that album.
Well, yeah, he's great always. Do you remember, since this ties into what we're talking about and NAMS next week, remember a few years ago when I sent you the picture of Nuno Bettencourt leaving the signing and I said actual photographic evidence of Nuno getting the funk out?
Oh, God.
And you had the same reaction.
Yeah. Your jokes are weak. That's all.
That was a good one.
So Jeff is correct on this one. Three Sides to Every Story is really good. The unfortunate part is that came out like 92 or 93 and there was no audience for it anymore. And not at that time. Looking back on it, it's actually a very dry album. There's not a lot of effects on there. There's not a lot of reverb on a lot of the tracks on there. It's not a very, from a production standpoint, it wasn't very wet. It's very, I don't want to call it stunted. Dennis Smith. I can't believe Clutch was never mentioned. Well, Clutch is great. Transnational.
No,
all right. You need to go bite a penis. The Clutch is a great band. The first 4 albums. And then after that, they just started doing the same album over and over and over again for the past 10 albums. So, and yes, this was an actual thing. And this may wind up in an intro.
Yes,
down the line with my hallowed photobomb of Nuno Bettencourt and my friend Jason. So
that was the year you met that I met you. Because remember, you were at dinner. Yeah, you were at dinner going, look at this photobomb.
That was such a good photobomb too. Come on, let's be honest. That was
perfect.
That was classic. I'll make that part of the next intro whenever we do that.
Look at Gall McCartney. Clutch is awful. Actual garbage.
You know, everybody has an opinion. Most of them aren't good. And then there's people like Gall, who, you know, again, I'll say it again, 2 chromosomes short of a human.
It's so good. He's right on this one, though.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's not.
That band is.
He's not. Clutch is the first 4 albums. First 4. After Pure Rock Fury, everything's sort of like.
I've listened to all, you know, I've had people play stuff for me. I've seen them live. I've given them every chance I could possibly give them. No.
How do you like Blackberry Smoke but not Clutch?
Oh, because Blackberry Smoke are way better. And they're not even in the same like genre. Like, what are you talking about?
It's Southern Rocky kind of thing.
Clutch is not Southern rock.
They're more Southern rock than. Can you do that again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. One more time.
And they're bad. They're bad white boy funk.
This is Gene Simmons from Kiss. I'm back again to defend Clutch. Clutch is a band. We wanted to take them on tour in 2025. At that point, we'll be 90 years old. We'll have to charge way too much in order to keep Clutch on tour, as they are one of the preeminent bands. They bought all the Kiss condoms.
You know, when Kiss discovered Clutch, as well as AC/DC and Motorhead and Iron Maiden,
I wrote a song with my friend Christine. She was 16 at the time, and I was 93, and the song was called Clutch. And then the band took the name, never gave us any money, which is really a shame. But we let them play.
Put Jeff's comment up.
Two guys with scruffy beards with bad opinions. I'm not going to rename the show that, but that should be the byline.
Yeah.
Though my beard is far less scruffy. Mine is tighter to the face than the next Charles Manson over here.
How was this not brought
album.
up for perfect albums? Kiss Unmasked.
Because there are no perfect Kiss albums.
Unmasked is up there.
Unmasked is probably one of the most underrated Kiss albums because it's straight up power pop and nobody knows anything about it. And Peter Criss didn't play on it because he couldn't play drums because he can't play drums.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, look, there's an event happening this weekend.
Yeah. Creatures Fest.
Yeah. Creatures Fest with like Peter Criss and Ace Frehley and Bruce Kulick and Vinnie Vincent.
Yes.
And 3 of them might show up. The bet is that Vinnie Vincent just doesn't even show up because he doesn't show up to anything because
I'm a Vinnie fan and I've talked to Vinnie and I've seen him play recently and I know what his reputation is and I really hope he doesn't do that because I saw him play in Nashville in 2019 and he can still rip. And I know a lot of people think he doesn't show up to these things or he cancels gigs because he can't play. I'm telling you, I saw it with my own 2 eyes. He can play his ass off still. I don't know anything past that. I hope he shows up because I want him to shut all the naysayers down. That being said, his track record is a little rough.
A little?
I'm trying to be diplomatic here.
Dude, if you said checkered past, it would be King Me. Like just all the checkers. Jesus. Yeah, exactly. This is there you go. Vinny,
yeah, we got Slaughter out of it, so I don't think that was really an upgrade.
Slaughter was miles better than the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. Miles better. Stick It To You is one of the best hairband albums ever made. Absolutely 100%. And Mark Slaughter has an amazing voice and still does.
I don't agree with any of that. But Vinny wrote Unholy on Revenge. So
Vinny wrote Half a Lick It Up.
Yep.
Okay. I have no problem with what he did with Kiss. I have a problem with the fact that he's just a moron who pissed away a career just by being a complete jerk. Kind of like somebody named Peter Criss.
What was Peter Criss being a complete? We got to get off of this. This will go on for like 3 hours. We got to stop this.
Well, we finished the show anyway. Does anybody have any questions for us? Nobody. Everybody just has statements trolling us, which is about par for the course.
Look at the last goal McCartney comment.
Because, he just does. Now we need to do a show just about Goldfish without Goldfish being on the show to tell the fable, the story
of Goldfish.
Yeah, I think that's necessary one day. But not for today. We're already about an hour and a half in, which means it's time to go. So thank you all very much for joining us today. Nick, tell us your store deets again.
Rock City Music Company, located in Livonia, Michigan. You can catch us on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all those apps. We're on all of them, constantly posting funny and cool and informative stuff. We're running a sale right now. So all you vinyl people, all records, 10% off. Shop rockcitymusicco.com. We'll ship them right to your door.
You won't get these kind of discounts on kiss.com. So make sure if you want to buy a Kiss album, you go see Nick. Go see Nick. Go see Nick. He's the guy to see with the discounts. If you go to kiss.com, we'll charge you 10% more as an added bonus, but there will be no bonus.
There's no, but the bonus is that you supported Kiss. The fans wanted this.
The fans wanted this. They wanted this, and we came and we delivered as Kiss.
They did. And I just want to say real quick, because I know we're always ragging on people back and forth.
Yeah.
My opinions, Mike's opinions, your opinions, they're all opinions. It's
exactly
totally. If I don't like something, that's okay. If you don't like something I like, that's totally fine too.
Yeah.
That John guy was a little rough though. He didn't like anything.
You're rough to him. So I mean, this is par for the course, and that's fine. It's all good. I love John, sort of.
I want Ian to come on here and watch one time.
He probably is looking on my Facebook page right now going, why can't we see them? Because VG Plus.
He called me out in the live auction the other day because I asked him if he had Voodoo Highway by Badlands, and he said, Nick, dump out of the auction video. There's a preview of everything. You wouldn't have to ask that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Oh, see, now Jeff Oden just popped in the last 10 seconds that we're actually going to be here. Hi, Jeff. How are you? Black Celebration by Depeche Mode. Yes, that is absolutely a great album. 100%.
Unfamiliar. I'm gonna check that out.
See, that's what these things are about, to share this kind of information. And if you get something out of it by listening to a new album or a new band or something you, again, like I said, you tried before, didn't like, maybe it hits differently this time around, do it. That's just what this is for. So, Jeff, sorry that you came in so late. We're actually getting off here now, but that doesn't mean you can't go back to the beginning and start watching again as this spools. And yes, exactly. Catch me on repeat. This will also be available as a podcast within the next hour, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And also, if you like this, down below on YouTube, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. And also the playlist for in the details right below, right over here, right down there. Yeah. In the details, you'll find the playlist for the This Song Sucks playlist. You'll see the link for that on Spotify. And thank you all so much for coming. I guess Def Leppard is on Jimmy Kimmel tonight because Patty's mentioning watch Jimmy Kimmel. So I guess I can watch him in another 4 hours if I'm actually awake.
I can watch him in an hour.
There you go. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know if we're going to be on next week, but just keep out. I hope we're able to make it work because this is fun. So thanks again to all of you, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching. Much appreciated.
Have a good night.